we see a mysterious man riding through the streets on a horse. He casts a spell on the horse in public, indicating that the horse would win the upcoming race. It is established that our protagonist is Tommy Shelby, a powerful man in his town, whom everyone greets with respect. Tommy has 3 brothers, Arthur, John, and Finn. Tommy, Arthur, and John fought together in France during World War I and now own a betting business. Tommy's spell trick in public encouraged people to lay bets, which would ultimately benefit the betting business for the Peaky blinders. Later, a man named Inspector Campbell gets on a train to Birmingham as he reads a file on Tommy and his family. Upon arrival, he informs the police force that he was sent here by none other than Winston Churchill himself to clean up the streets. He declares that he will do whatever it takes to take down organizations like the Peaky blinders. In the next scene, a man named Freddie Thorne is introduced as a communist who organizes strikes with his fellow comrades who fought in France. Freddie meets Tommy in a bar, where it is revealed that the two had a long history in France, with Freddie saving Tommy's life once. They talk about the prospect of Inspector Campbell coming after them, when all of a sudden, chaos occurs in a bar. Tommy and Freddie immediately hold down a man called Danny Whizbang, who apparently has shell shock and thinks he's still in France. Tommy calms him down and assures him that he's okay. Tommy is seen in church with a woman named Aunt Polly, who appears to be Tommy's confidant. Tommy confesses that during a routine robbery, his men grabbed the wrong crate and found 25 machine guns. These guns were extremely powerful and rare at the time. Possessing even a few could change the tide of a war. Aunt Polly urges Tommy to get rid of the guns, but Tommy, after much thought, decides to keep them hidden, showing glimpses of his ambitious nature. In the next scene, Freddie meets with a girl underground, who is introduced as Tommy's only sister, Ada Shelby. It appears that the two are having an affair, but don't want anyone to know about it because Freddie fears it might be bad for his communist campaign. When Arthur's watching a movie in the theaters, he's abducted by Inspector Campbell and his men. Arthur is then tortured for information regarding the robbery of the machine guns, to which he knows nothing about. Back at the bar, a mysterious woman shows up asking to be employed as a barmaid. She demonstrates her singing and cleaning skills, getting her hired on the spot. Tommy walks in and asks her for a bottle of rum, which he then uses to treat Arthur. Arthur informs Tommy and the rest of the family that Campbell's here regarding a robbery, and Arthur wants to help him, not knowing that Tommy himself was the one who committed the act. In a museum, we see Inspector Campbell meeting up with Grace, the recently hired barmaid. It appears Grace is working undercover to help Campbell find the stolen guns and bury them so it doesn't get into the wrong hands. At night, Tommy wakes up from a nightmare about France, indicating that everyone who served has been greatly influenced by the war. The next morning, Danny Whizbang has another breakdown and accidentally kills an Italian man on the streets. Tommy informs that in order to prevent a war breaking out between the Italians and the Peaky blinders, Danny has to be shot in front of 2 Italian witnesses. Before he shoots him, he says the line, "in the bleak midwinter," which is a significant phrase from their time in France. Later, we see that Tommy shot Danny with blanks to prevent the war and shipped him off for another job elsewhere.